Alright, welcome back to another episode of Japan versus the World, and we are in a bit of a tight spot. This province up here of Karelia SSR fell to a primarily US forces attack, which is not exactly what we wanted to see, but it's what we got. So let's go ahead and make some purchases here. I've taken a pretty drastic hit to my Air Force, which I'm not happy about. But what else are you going to do? So what we're going to go ahead and do here is I've got to bulk up some of my ground forces. So let's go ahead and do 6 infantry here, 2 infantry here. So that'll give us 8. So we'll then want to get a few extra tanks. So let's get 2 out of here, 2 out of here. And then let's go ahead and get a few fighters to help bulk up the Air Force forces that we've just lost here. And that's going to be what we do for our purchase round. Alright, so for our combat phase here, we're going to keep things decently light. I just do not have the manpower to come up here and provoke the US tanks that are held up in Karelia. But I will be moving one of my tanks out of Finland into Norway to gain the 2 IPC there. I will blitz a tank through West Russia into Belarusia to pick up the 2 IPC here, as well as picking up or bringing him into the overall large-scale fight that we'll be waging in Ukraine SSR. Bringing in a fair number of planes to help with that combat, but ultimately what I'm going to be doing primarily with 3 of my bombers is coming in to do a factory raid on the factory here in Germany, because I need to stunt as much I can of the US's ability to continue to produce forces out of Berlin. So that should hopefully slow them down a considerable amount. But let's go ahead and move into the combat. So we've got a bomber raid going on here. It's going to be pretty simple. There's no defense, so we're just going to roll as much damage as we can onto this factory. And we're going to get a total of... okay. So we took 2 hits here, and I'm not sure why, but that's about all we can really do. They don't have a anti-aircraft, so that was odd to me. Oh, we didn't lose them. We just lost their ability to strike in the attack there. So, at least we're not down and out anything. Alright, so here we have Ukraine and the assault here. I'm expecting to take a victory here pretty decidedly. And no hits from our artillery and our artillery-assisted infantry. Looking to get at least 2 hits out of this group. And we've got more than enough to take out the tanks that are stuck or held up here. But we are going to take hits on 1 infantry and 1 artillery. But overall, a pretty decided victory in this area. Or did we? No, we did end up losing a couple of planes here, which doesn't make sense to me because they don't have any anti-aircraft guns, unless there's something I don't know about IPC factories, but that was not great. So let's go ahead and fly. I've got to fly him into Finland, I guess. That's the only spot that I can send him, which isn't great. Let's send the rest of these guys back here. These planes to fortify in here as well. And then we're going to want to move these tanks up here into Archangel. This artillery into Archangel. Gotta leave that tank over there for the time being. But let's start moving or continue moving our Navy over this way. That's going to be all we really need to see there. And now to mobilize the troops. So we're going to place 6 of them here, 2 of them here, an additional 2 here, 2 here, and then planes down here in India, or our factory in India. Would have liked to have produced them out of Karelia, but that's just not going to happen. So that's going to be it for our placement. So let's go ahead and wrap things up on this turn. Alright, back around us again. Some not so great movement that we've seen. Ukraine SSR went back over into the hands of the Allied forces. So that's not exactly a great thing to be seeing here. And they've further buttoned down in Karelia. We had an attempt over here in Finland, and our bomber was actually able to hold on, which is mind-blowing because it attacks at a 1. So some wild action must have taken place there. Well, we find ourselves in a bit of a predicament here because we're just losing the numbers game. So we're going to double down more with our infantry, doing a similar move to what we did on our last turn. Except for this time, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a couple of extra mobile units. Alright, so that's going to have to be what we target on this time. Mainly because my bombers, if I were to go and run another bombing raid on Germany, I really don't want to lose any more like I did on that last turn. And additionally, the only safe place that they can fly back to is here in Finland, which isn't optimal. So we're going to go ahead and focus all of our fire here in Ukraine to take out these forces and hopefully leave a significant amount of troops to counteract what we currently have, or what we had there on our last turn. So jumping right back into the fight here in Ukraine SSR, we've got a couple of shots from our infantry. Nothing there, didn't expect much from them either. Then we've got some tanks and fighter hits. That's going to net us the 4 hits that we absolutely need. And let's see how many retaliation hits we're taking here. It's going to be 3, which is going to be all of these ground units. So all things considered, not terrible. So we're going to go ahead and land all of our bombers here in Kaukas. We're going to land our fighters up here. So that gives us... We can have to land 2 of our fighters back down here in Kaukas because they came from India. So that's about what we were expecting there. We're going to go ahead and move 3 of these units here, the other 3 here. Move this guy down here to defend a little bit more as well. And then let's go ahead and move... I'm going to do a bit of a gutsy move here. And move my Navy into this sea zone. Hopefully to spur a reaction from the US forces. Something that they'll regret. But that's going to do it for this turn, so let's move on forward. And then for our placement, we've got to go ahead and land a couple of units here. A couple of units here. And then we'll build this artillery and these planes out of our factory in India. And that's going to do it for this round of combat. Man, they're really just hunkering down over here. There's way too many numbers up here for me to deal with, even with the units that I'm putting out here pretty regularly. But they've left this southern border decently unguarded. Not comfortably enough for me to do anything drastic. So I think I'm going to have a slight change in plans with what I'm doing with this Navy here. However, we're going to hunker down and get some more units here. And we've just got to build that Air Force back up as quickly as we can with some of the casualties we've taken in it. Alright, so in terms of our combat phase, we're going to hunker down again in this fight in Ukraine. It's probably going to get nasty and ugly. We will be blitzing one tank through these unprotected provinces of Belarusia and Poland, which will be good for us. And in another risky move, we're going to fly 4 of our bombers in to attack and hinder the industrial factory here in Berlin to hopefully hinder the US a little bit in their endeavors. So let's move forward with the attack phase. So first off, we've got our bombing right here in the industrial complex, and it appears that they do defend it a 1. So let's see how many of them they get. Nothing. That's good. So let's roll all 4 of our attacking dice here, and that's going to inflict some pretty heavy casualties onto that industrial complex. That's going to be a lot of money sunk back into that to repair it. So that should put the US back a good bit. Now we've got the fight in Ukraine SSR. These guys are here mainly as cannon fodder, but hopefully I can get a couple hits out of them. That's not the case. So let's see how many hits we can get out of this crew. And a fair amount, but I would have liked to have seen more. And then please get a hit from the bomber here, and that's not what I wanted. Got 2 hits from their infantry, and we're taking more hits from their tanks, many more than I would have hoped. Well, we're gonna back out of this because it's not going our way. Well, that's not the first time we've made a miscalculation, so we'll go ahead and regroup here. And we've got this area decently protected. We'll end up moving this guy over here. But we've got to start moving some of these guys around. How did you... Oh, you were always there, I guess. Ba-da-ba-da. And then on our non-combat here, we're going to want to move you guys into the Baltic Sea for reasons. So that's going to be all we do on our non-combat, moving this guy over here, retreating our troops back down to Kaukas. And actually, no, we're going to send 3 of you here and 3 of you here. And that's going to about do it for us. So now that we've got our troops redistributed a bit, let's go ahead and mobilize some more. And then some more guys down here in this Calcutta factory. Well, that's going to be where we cut things off for today's episode. We've got a decent amount of power, but some influence is certainly slipping. So if you're enjoying this series, feel free to leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe, as the subscription is free and easy, and my commitment is to bring content to you on a daily basis. Thanks again for watching, and you have yourself a fantastic rest of your day.